Nickels worth of free advice for Carolina Panthers owner David Tepper. Don't give him the game ball. Give Steve Wilks the job. You know, don't tell him, hey, this for you, brother. 1, 2, 3, family. And then when the season's over, you go and looking for a shiny new toy or a sexy head coach that's going to win you the press conference. Steve Wilks, man, obviously the salacious story, the sexy story, Michael Holley, is the struggles of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But the story for me is Steve Wilks, who I always felt got a raw deal in 2018 at one season he had with the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, my God.
Steve Wilks taking over.
Did he ever?
Right? That's understatement of the year, right? Goes and takes over as interim coach of the Carolina Panthers. Charlotte native Steve Wilks, by the way. Appalachian State's own Steve Wilks, by the way. Takes over as interim coach for Matt Rule. Playing P.J. Walker at quarterback. Everybody's talking fire sale. There's rumors about Derek Brown and Brian Burns and J.C. Horn and D.J. Moore and, you know, Christian McCaffrey's already in San Francisco. And they go and beat the brakes off the Bucs. Okay? So when it comes time for that job interview for the full-time job after this season, I don't care what happens the rest of the year. Steve Wilks, take that video right there, put out by the Carolina Panthers social media team, play that for David Tepper, and walk out the room. David Tepper and Scott Fitterer and whoever is involved in the decision-making process, play that video and walk out the room. That's all the evidence you need that he's qualified, that he can get that locker room and get those players to play for him, get him some good players this coming draft, get him a quarterback, and let's see what this man could do with an actual opportunity. If you're not going to give him the job, at least give him serious consideration, as opposed to what Tepper said recently, which was, if he does an incredible job, he can be considered. Sounds a lot like what Arthur Blank said about Raheem Morris, who should be a head coach this year. We saw with the Raiders, who won yesterday, but the Raiders didn't think Rich Bisaccia was good enough, despite taking him to the playoffs last year. It's like a lot of times with these interim guys, the guy is right under your nose. He knows the locker room. He knows the players, whether they're there or not. The guy's right under your nose, but you want to win the press conference. You want to win the headlines. You want to shell out millions of dollars to the Sean Paytons of the world instead of giving a guy like Steve Wilks a legitimate opportunity to be successsul. No, he's a good interim guy. He's good to hold down the fort. He could rally the players, but is he going to rally the sponsors? And is he going to rally the corporate partners? Therein lies the problem with a lot of these owners. Steve Wilks showed yesterday that he's more than qualified to be the long-term head coach of the Carolina Panthers. Under those circumstances, you're not going to find a more impressive win all year, Michael Holley.
Look, Michael Smith, not only do you have a Hall of Fame headline, you got Hall of Fame commentary on this topic with Steve Wilks. And I've mentioned this before. Interim coaches, there are certain things interim coaches can't do. It's really the worst job in football. Yeah, you've got head coach as part of your title, but that interim means a lot of things you weren't able to do. You weren't able to hold your own training camp. You weren't able to hire your own coaching staff. You weren't able to install your system. There are lots of things you're not able to do. And in a lot of cases, as you just pointed out, you're not able to get serious consideration for the head coaching job. I pointed this out. I think it's amazing. It's a product from another time, a simpler time, a better time. And that is Marty Schottenheimer. When Marty Schottenheimer took over for Sam Rutigliano in Cleveland, Rutigliano was 1-7. They fired him. They didn't bring in a new coaching staff. They didn't bring in new players. It's, hey, Marty, you make something out of this. He went 500, just a very pedestrian 500 the rest of the way, but he was able to establish a culture. A couple of names I'm going to throw at you. He said, you know what, we should get a ball to these guys, these two running backs we have, Ernest Biner and Kevin Mack. Let's give them both the ball.
Right.
And that's what our offense is going to be. And he became the head coach. Not only become his interim went from interim to head coach. And along the way, in Cleveland, he promoted other people on his staff like Bill Cowher. Schottenheimer should be in the Hall of Fame. Cowher is in the Hall of Fame. These things happen, and sometimes it's not about going outside the organization, getting a big name, getting a great offensive guy or a great defensive guy. That somebody on the roster, Steve Wilks may not be the guy for it, but at least give him real consideration. In a lot of these cases, as you pointed out, they're not even considering the guy.
Right.
I don't think Rich Bisaccia.
That's my issue.
I don't think Bisaccia didn't get real consideration. He didn't. He didn't get real consideration.
And that's my bigger issue.
From the Raiders.
Even if Steve Wilks, we know the double standard that black coaches have to operate under, okay? We know that the goalposts get moved. Yeah. The goalposts get moved for black coaches. All we're asking for, and all we've been asking for, all we've been pounding the table for is serious and legitimate consideration. Even if Steve Wilks doesn't get the gig. Like, nobody's going to look at David Tepper like he's crazy if, for example, he gets Sean Payton to coach the team. Okay, it's Sean Payton, for crying out loud. He's got a Super Bowl ring. We get it. We get the instant credibility that he brings. But Steve Wilks clearly has credibility in that locker room. And to say if he does an incredible job, he can be considered, why does he have to do an incredible job? Why do, right. What does that mean, first and foremost? But why do we have to do superhuman shit in order to be considered for the same job that somebody else could be mediocre and get? Okay, that's the biggest issue. It's like we got to jump through hoops. We got to contort ourselves and go undefeated, as Arthur Blank, I believe, said about Raheem Morris a couple of years ago. You know, it's like, why do we have to do that? Well, and it's a rhetorical question when I say why.
Well, I know that. I know what the answer is. But for Wilks, an incredible job may have been done already. I don't know.
Yesterday was incredible. That's enough.
Yeah.
I mean, how many games is he supposed to win with P.J. Walker? Who should continue to start.
This is what you got. Right, but you had Baker Mayfield out. You got Sam Darnold out. You put P.J. Walker in there. You already traded Christian McCaffrey. Who knows how that played in the locker room? You already traded Robbie Anderson. I don't know how that played in the locker room. And it just very conveniently, Mike, I'm not crazy. I know the trade deadline has not passed yet. It hasn't passed yet. So very conveniently, the story comes out that they turned down 2 first-round picks for Brian Burns. They turned it down because he's a foundational player. And they turned it down any kind of interest. There's a lot of interest in J.C. Horn and Burns and DJ Moore. No. We're not going to just give these guys away. They didn't say they wouldn't trade them.
Right.
They're letting it be known before the trade deadline. So, if you got a better offer,
come correct.
You got about a week. You got about a week and a change. So it's going to take more than 2 first-round picks.
Everybody can be had. There's a price for everybody.
You're doing all of these things, and the fact that you're ready, that you show up to the game on time. Let's be honest. When you're the Carolina Panthers, if you show up to the game on time, and everybody doesn't consider themselves an independent contractor, the head coach has already done an incredible job just getting everybody on the bus and on the plane
keeping it together. Absolutely.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.